What if I told you that 7 simple habits could completely transform your life, your relationships, and your success? Today, we're diving into one of the most influential self-help books ever written. Welcome to Book Summaries channel, where we break down the world's best books so you can apply their wisdom immediately. Today's book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, a timeless classic that has helped millions achieve personal and professional excellence. Covey introduces the concept of paradigms, which are the lenses through which we see the world. Our paradigms shape our attitudes and behaviors and ultimately determine our effectiveness. The author distinguishes between the personality ethic and the character ethic. The personality ethic focuses on superficial techniques and quick fixes, while the character ethic emphasizes fundamental principles like integrity, humility, and courage. True effectiveness comes from aligning ourselves with timeless principles, not just learning new techniques. Covey explains that lasting change must come from the inside out, starting with our character and moving outward to our behaviors. He introduces the concept of effectiveness as the balance between production and production capability. This is illustrated through the fable of the goose and the golden egg. Many people focus only on getting results without maintaining the resources that produce those results. This leads to burnout and diminished long-term effectiveness. The foundation of the 7 habits rests on understanding these core principles. Without this paradigm shift, the habits become mere techniques without transformative power. Covey emphasizes that principles are natural laws that govern human effectiveness, just as gravity governs the physical world. Understanding and living by correct principles is the key to sustainable success and fulfillment. Being proactive means taking responsibility for your life and choices. Proactive people recognize that they have the freedom to choose their response to any situation, regardless of circumstances. This is fundamentally different from being reactive, where we blame external factors for our problems. Covey introduces the concept of the circle of concern and the circle of influence. Reactive people focus on things they cannot control, like the weather or other people's behavior, which drains their energy. Proactive people focus on their circle of influence, the things they can actually do something about. By focusing on what we can control, we expand our influence over time. Our language reveals whether we are proactive or reactive. Reactive language includes phrases like "I can't," "I have to," or "if only," while proactive language uses "I choose," "I prefer," and "I will." Covey explains that between stimulus and response, we have the freedom to choose. This space of choice is what makes us uniquely human. Proactive people use this freedom to align their responses with their values. They make and keep commitments to themselves, which builds self-trust and personal integrity. Taking initiative doesn't mean being pushy or aggressive. It means recognizing our responsibility to make things happen. Proactivity is the foundation of all the other habits because it establishes that we are in charge of our own lives. When we accept responsibility for our choices, we gain the power to change our circumstances. This habit is about defining your vision and values before you begin any endeavor. Covey asks us to imagine our own funeral and consider what we would want people to say about us. This powerful exercise helps clarify what truly matters in our lives. Without a clear destination, we may climb the ladder of success only to find it's leaning against the wrong wall. Beginning with the end in mind means creating a personal mission statement based on our core values and principles. This mission statement becomes a constitution for our lives, guiding our decisions and actions. Covey emphasizes that all things are created twice, first mentally, then physically. A building exists first as a blueprint before construction begins. Similarly, we should design our lives before living them. This principle applies to every aspect of life, from daily tasks to long-term goals. Leadership is deciding what needs to be done, while management is doing it efficiently. We need to lead our own lives by establishing clear direction. Many people are busy managing their lives without ever leading them toward meaningful goals. Covey introduces the concept of developing a personal mission statement for different roles we play: parent, professional, friend, community member. Each role should be aligned with our overall life mission. Visualization and affirmation are powerful tools for programming our subconscious mind toward our goals. By clearly defining what we want to achieve and who we want to become, we create a framework for effective decision-making. This habit ensures that our daily activities align with our deepest values. This habit is about execution and time management based on priorities, not urgencies. Covey introduces the time management matrix, which categorizes activities into 4 quadrants based on urgency and importance. Quadrant 1 contains urgent and important activities like crises and deadlines. Quadrant 2 contains important but not urgent activities like planning, prevention, and relationship building. Quadrant 3 is urgent but not important activities like interruptions and some calls. Quadrant 4 is neither urgent nor important activities like time wasters and busy work. Most people spend too much time in quadrants 1 and 3, constantly reacting to urgent matters. Highly effective people focus on quadrant 2 activities, which prevent crises and build capacity. By investing time in planning, preparation, and prevention, we reduce the number of urgent crises we face. This requires saying no to many quadrant 3 and 4 activities that seem urgent but don't contribute to our goals. Covey introduces weekly planning as more effective than daily planning because it provides perspective. We should organize our week around roles and goals, scheduling quadrant 2 activities first. The key is not to prioritize your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Delegation is essential for putting first things first, freeing us to focus on activities only we can do. Effective delegation means delegating to results rather than methods, empowering others to accomplish tasks their own way. This habit transforms Habit 2's mental creation into physical reality through disciplined execution. Covey explains that the first 3 habits move us from dependence to independence, achieving what he calls private victory. However, independence is not the ultimate goal. Interdependence is. Interdependence is the paradigm of we, recognizing that we can accomplish far more together than alone. This section addresses our relationships with others and how to create win-win situations. Before we can have successful relationships with others, we must first have success with ourselves. This is why private victory must precede public victory. Many people try to improve their relationships through quick fixes and techniques, but without character foundation, these efforts fail. The emotional bank account is introduced as a metaphor for the trust in relationships. Every interaction either makes deposits or withdrawals from this account. Deposits include kindness, honesty, keeping commitments, and understanding what matters to others. Withdrawals include discourtesy, breaking promises, and betraying trust. When the account balance is high, communication is easy and mistakes are forgiven. When it's low, everything becomes difficult and people interpret our actions negatively. Building and maintaining high trust balances is essential for effective interdependence. The habits in this section provide principles for creating and sustaining positive relationships. Understanding these paradigms transforms how we approach all our interactions with others. Win-win is a frame of mind and heart that seeks mutual benefit in all interactions. It's based on the paradigm that there's plenty for everyone, that success is not achieved at someone else's expense. Covey contrasts this with other paradigms like win-lose, where one person's success requires another's failure. Win-lose thinking is common in competitive environments and creates adversarial relationships. Lose-win is the paradigm of people-pleasers who give in easily, seeking acceptance over results. This approach leads to resentment and unfulfilled expectations. Lose-lose occurs when 2 stubborn win-lose people interact, both determined that if they can't win, the other won't either. Win-win or no deal means that if we can't find a mutually beneficial solution, we agree there will be no deal. This protects the relationship and leaves the door open for future cooperation. Achieving win-win requires character, including integrity, maturity, and an abundance mentality. Integrity means being true to our values and commitments. Maturity is the balance between courage and consideration, between standing up for ourselves and caring about others. The abundance mentality is the belief that there is enough for everyone, contrasted with the scarcity mentality that sees life as a zero-sum game. Win-win also requires maintaining the emotional bank account, as trust is essential for finding mutually beneficial solutions. The principle is that long-term effectiveness requires that we build relationships and agreements that benefit all parties involved. This habit is about empathic listening, truly understanding another person's perspective before trying to make yourself understood. Most people listen with the intent to reply, not to understand. We filter everything through our own paradigms and autobiography. While someone is speaking, we're often preparing our response, judging, or giving advice. Covey identifies 4 autobiographical responses: evaluating, probing, advising, and interpreting. These responses come from our own experience and prevent us from truly understanding others. Empathic listening means listening with the intent to understand both intellectually and emotionally. It requires getting inside another person's frame of reference and seeing the world as they see it. This is risky because we might be influenced by what we hear. Empathic listening involves 4 developmental stages: mimicking content, rephrasing content, reflecting feeling, and rephrasing content and reflecting feeling. The highest form combines all elements, capturing both meaning and emotion. When people feel deeply understood, they lower their defenses and open themselves to influence. This is why we must seek to understand first. Only after understanding can we effectively communicate our own perspective. The principle of seeking first to understand is the key to effective communication and building deep relationships. It requires tremendous character strength because it's so contrary to our natural tendency to be understood first. Diagnosis must precede prescription in relationships, just as it does in medicine. Synergy means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. When people synergize, they create new alternatives that didn't exist before. Synergy is the essence of principle-centered leadership and the ultimate goal in family, work, and community relationships. It builds on all the previous habits, particularly win-win thinking and empathic communication. Synergy requires high trust and cooperation, where differences are valued rather than merely tolerated. In low-trust situations, people become defensive and protective, leading to compromise at best. Compromise means 1 + 1 = 1.5. Both parties give up something. True synergy means 1 + 1 = 3 or more. Something new is created. Covey explains that valuing differences is the essence of synergy. When we see that others see things differently, we can say, "Good, you see it differently. Help me see what you see." This attitude transforms potential conflicts into opportunities for creative cooperation. The principle is that differences should be celebrated, not merely tolerated. Nature teaches us about synergy through ecology, where different organisms create balanced, thriving systems. In human interaction, synergistic communication opens up new possibilities through genuine understanding and creativity. It requires vulnerability and the willingness to abandon old scripts. Synergy means we don't settle for my way or your way, but find a better way, our way. The results of synergy are often surprising and exciting, creating solutions that no one initially envisioned. This habit is about self-renewal and continuous improvement in 4 dimensions of our nature: physical, mental, spiritual, and social-emotional. The metaphor comes from a story of someone sawing a tree who is too busy sawing to sharpen the saw. Without regular renewal, we become dull and ineffective. Physical renewal involves exercise, nutrition, and stress management. We need to care for our body through regular physical activity, even just 30 minutes 3 to 4 times per week. Mental renewal comes from reading, writing, planning, and visualizing. We should continually educate ourselves through good literature, keeping our minds sharp and expanding our perspective. Spiritual renewal provides leadership to our lives through meditation, prayer, or connecting with our values. This dimension draws upon sources that inspire and uplift us. Social-emotional renewal happens through service, empathy, and synergy with others. It's intrinsically related to habits 4, 5, and 6. Unlike the other dimensions, the social-emotional dimension doesn't require dedicated time because we can practice these principles in our normal daily interactions. Covey emphasizes that renewal in all 4 dimensions must be balanced. Neglecting any dimension has negative impact on the others. This habit makes all the other habits possible by preserving and enhancing our greatest asset, ourselves. Sharpening the saw is the habit that makes all the others sustainable over time. It represents the upward spiral of growth, learning, committing, and doing at increasingly higher levels. Daily private victories in these 4 dimensions create the foundation for public victories. Covey returns to the fundamental paradigm shift required for true effectiveness. Change must come from the inside out. We cannot change circumstances or other people without first changing ourselves. The 7 habits represent a holistic, integrated approach to personal and interpersonal effectiveness. They move us on a maturity continuum from dependence to independence to interdependence. Dependence is the paradigm of you. You take care of me. You didn't come through. I blame you for the results. Independence is the paradigm of I. I am responsible. I am self-reliant. I can choose. Interdependence is the paradigm of we. We can cooperate. We can combine talents. We can create something greater together. Interdependence is a choice only independent people can make. Dependent people cannot choose to become interdependent. Each habit builds on the previous ones, creating a framework for continuous growth and improvement. Living these habits requires daily private victories that compound over time into significant results. Covey emphasizes that knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. Understanding these principles intellectually is not enough. They must be practiced consistently. The habits become easier with practice as we build the character strength and skills required. Change is a process, not an event, and requires patience with ourselves as we develop new patterns. The ultimate promise is that by living these habits, we align ourselves with natural laws that govern human effectiveness. This alignment brings balance, harmony, and sustainable success in all areas of life.